And they had some certain aesthetics, but they didn't connect it into a unifying worldview. It's kind of like politeness. You don't stand up when a woman enters the room because you're a feminist or something. Probably the opposite, actually. You do it because you're told that that's what you're supposed to do.
People do that still?
Maybe not still, but it's like an example, like an old worldy thing where a woman comes to the table, all the gentlemen stand.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. I've never seen that in my lifetime, but
maybe it's a British thing, but
maybe.
Yeah, but these people understood, you don't say certain words. You take the piss out of George W. Bush, and that makes you a good person. But there was no ground into that. And when it came time that they got older and they got richer, and in Marilyn Manson's case, did a lot of drugs and a lot of weird sex stuff, and got to the point where, I don't know, he just wanted to push things further in a really horrible way. Yeah,
like lock women up and punch them in the face when non-consensually.
Exactly, and then make music videos about it. Yeah, and just pushing things further and further. Without that grounding, you're never going to get a point where you say, okay, well, this is what I'm doing is obviously wrong, because there is a framework to what I should and shouldn't be doing. But because I don't have that framework, kind of I can do whatever I want.
Right. Well, frameworks are woke, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
it's got to be chaos.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't want to use the word the problem with woke culture, but the things that people pull out, call problem, wrong about the so-called woke culture, I don't know, doing a land acknowledgement before you fire people at a business, or things like that. Or I think that comes from the same area. It's like you know that doing land acknowledgements is politeness, just in the same way as standing up when a woman enters a restaurant is politeness. You don't know why you're doing it. You don't know what kind of world you want when you're doing land acknowledgements.
Right. So it's very shallow and meaningless. Exactly. And I mean, there are land acknowledgements done by people who are harming indigenous people and who are supporting a genocide in Palestine right now, right? Like, we had our Truth and Reconciliation Day, and it was just so gross to see all our Canadian politicians.
Oh God, yeah, you're in Canada. I used to live in Canada too, and that is the Canadian reputation for being the woke country is just utterly not deserved. I mean, they're woke in the kind of pejorative sense of fake, performative, entirely performative way, but. Yeah, they're still not doing a inquiry into residential schools. I've got family who live in reservations, and they're still third world conditions throughout.
Yeah, it's shocking.
But they'll do land acknowledgements. They'll acknowledge the stolen land, then steal it a bit more.
Right, exactly. Or they'll have these DEI programs at workplaces, while just not doing anything concrete to help marginalized groups. It's just kind of here, have a candy and shut up. Sit in your little group and talk about diversity in meaningless ways, and don't actually try to push for meaningful change.
Again, it comes from a lack of a grounding. And I think, going back to the AI article, it comes from a lack of grounding in Enlightenment humanism, which is probably a very passé phrase and a very passé philosophy. But
also something that these new atheist types fetishized a lot.
And again, just using the words instead of actually thinking it through and really radically letting it change their lives and thinking.
Right.
They weren't Enlightenment humanists. They were just plain old conservatives, different from Margaret Thatcher. They weren't willing to do the stuff that Eliza Gurgikowski wanted to do on Less Wrong, but again didn't get right, where you actually think, okay, what is the truth, and therefore what should I do because of that? It always came back to, what do I want to do, which in their case was like beat up on Muslims or trans people and so on. Therefore, what must be true in order to allow me to do that? So just inverting the way that you should think about the world.
Right, yeah.
And
like working backwards.
Yeah. But if any of these people from Dawkins to Marilyn Manson were to actually work forwards from their beliefs and say, okay, the pleasure I get out of being a bad person isn't as important as what's true and what's good for humanity, then they could actually do important and interesting and good things out of their beliefs, instead of just using terms like Enlightenment humanism as a fig leaf for hating Muslims.
Right. Yes, and trans people. I mean, Dawkins is putting his clout.
Yeah, it's cultural Christian now.
Yeah, for that purpose, and also for just bashing trans people and saying, look, I'm a scientist, I know what I'm saying. And there's a bunch of new atheist guys doing that, like just really
it's a new thing that
targeting trans people.
Yeah, you can go a long way with targeting trans people nowadays. It's probably, you can go further than targeting Muslims, definitely. It used to be the other way around, but now if you want to go like that girl who in the fencing competition who took a knee when she was facing a trans opponent, you saw that, right?
I saw that in passing, but so what is it? It's a woman who refused to fence alongside a trans competitor, and she got an award for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was given $5,000, and I think from Fox News or something. And the fun thing is, it was a mixed tournament. Like she was against men, cis men.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fencing is not apart from it, the Olympics is not gender segregated. Because it's fencing, it's poking people with a little metal prod. You don't need
right.
don't need gender.
I mean, the TERFs argue for like chess to be gender segregated.
I know.
That's so insulting.
Yeah. Weirdly, NASCAR isn't gender segregated, but chess, fencing, all these things that have no reason to be gender segregated, and again, it's. They want to exclude trans women specifically. They probably wouldn't even have such a big issue with like cis men participating, but just so that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this event was a mixed tournament. Any gender could participate, but they took this little bit out of context where this girl took a knee, which is a weird thing to do because that's what we associate with Black Lives Matter. But
right.
So weird gesture.
TERF lives matter.
Yeah.
Or something. No.
Yes. Semiotically, really weird gesture to make. Like if you want to like not participate in a sporting thing, but then it didn't make any sense. But it was taken out of context. She got on Fox News. She got $5,000. It's easy money.
And then Fox News would be against someone taking the knee for, say, George Floyd, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they'd be like, this performative woke bullshit. But then, like, this is the contradiction thing again, right? And they have that just so much across the board. Like, they're happy to use, like, minority tokens to push their hateful agenda. They'll love, like, a gay right-wing guy or a trans right-wing woman or a Muslim right-wing grifter.
Candace Owens is huge right now.
Exactly. And I, come from the new atheist ex-Muslim scenes, and I've seen that the ex-Muslim movement, like, went from, like, having, like, a decent goal of, like, hey, let's destigmatize non-belief for specifically Muslims because it is hard in our culture. But they went from that to, like, race science, to, like, white nationalist propaganda, to, like, promoting pro-natalist conferences and weirdly trad life, like gender-segregated schools and women should be in the home and not in the workplace. And I'm like, I thought you left Islam because you didn't like the trad values of the conservative mullahs, but you're fine accepting this shit from, like, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, and the whole ex-Muslim movement is, like, just like this giant grift for the right, like to push anti-Muslim values, and not being on that trajectory has been like, it's been a shocking difference between my path and how many book deals these people have gone and
gotten. What's her name? Ayan Hirsi.
Ayan Hirsi Ali.
Yeah. She was huge for a very long time. I even like quite on the early things. I watched a lot of her stuff and thought some of her very early stuff was kind of sensible, and she seemed to be on the right path. But she's utterly spun out into the cosmos right now. She is just
she's converted to Christianity to own the wokes.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
it's
she thinks BLM and ISIS are similar.
Yeah, they're both acronyms. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of argument she did make. So when you say, like, the standards are so low and it's so easy to be a right-wing grifter, like, they really don't need much from you. No coherent talking points, nothing. You just got to vaguely gesture in some sort of right-wing direction, and here you go, $5,000.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a bounty on trans people right now, where you can, like, that what's her name? That swimmer who, again, when you look at
Riley Gaines,
that's her. Yeah, when you look at the facts of the actual swim tournament, she came in tied for 5th with a trans woman. She wasn't going to win it anyway. It wasn't. It's
she was
swimming.
5th place.
Yeah, it's not like she's going to.
She's made a whole career out of it. Yeah, and it does go back to how the AI thing is shaping up, right? It is this very inconsistent, incoherent worldview, and the hatred and the cruelty just being, like, at the core of it.
Yeah, if you can be cruel in a public way, like that girl in the fencing, like Riley Gaines, then you're in the team. And you'll get money, and you'll get fame, you'll get on podcasts, and you can make a whole thing out of it. And if you can't do that, if you can't become a right-wing celebrity, then you can certainly just enjoy it. You can be along for the ride. It's for a lot of people, it's a hobby rather than a politics. It's something you do, like those people on Jubilee, where you can just, like, say some weird shit to people, get people angry. Like, my parents do it to me all the time. It's conservatives I've known in my personal life do it. They get given these talking points from the people who've made it into, like, the celebrity layer of the right wing. Then they repeat them at you. It doesn't really matter what they mean. It doesn't really matter if they're consistent. It doesn't matter if you can refute them easily. And they will not accept any information, and they do it for fun. It's enjoyable for them, in the same way a bullying is enjoyable for bullies.
Right. And at the same time, they're also framing themselves as the biggest victims, like we already talked about. Like, some of these AI thumbnails that you see out there, it's like, like these white nationalists are making, like, these thumbnails of, like, evil-looking Muslim men laughing at this, like, poor white woman, and she's, like, so scared of them, and or, like, this horde of brown immigrants, like, taking over the city. It's like, these are not real things. That's why you need to use AI. Or even Israeli propaganda. There's so much AI stuff in that.
The AI generated Gaza to Neom train thing that came out a little while ago, and it was that was from Netanyahu's own personal account too. It wasn't like some. Oh really? Oh, did you say Neom, like the Saudi project? I don't know if you saw that. So on Netanyahu's account, he showed, like, AI generated map of what Gaza's going to be, and with, like, AI data centers and the strip of, like, tourist stuff across the beach, and it had a bullet train that goes to Neom. And Saudi would probably happily let that happen too. Oh, they would love it. I bet MBS was just like, put this into my veins. I love this shit. Yeah. It's so gross, like how they're just announcing and sort
sort of fossilizing their fascism in these images. And the people in power that are not exactly that fascist are just like letting it happen.
Yeah, I mean, AI has, it's the aesthetic of fascism, but a lot of very normal people use it. Like, I'm constantly having to fight against people at work to not use AI in our day-to-day jobs, because a lot of people are genuinely convinced that it's
just a tool.
Yeah, and they genuinely think it works like HAL 9000 or like the computer in Star Trek, where you just ask it for something and it will just do it. But when you actually look into it, it's very ineffective. It's not a technology that actually works at all. It should still be in university labs.
Yeah, sometimes it tells people to eat rocks for their health.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, every time I've used it in like a professional context, it gives me bad information and just slows things down. It shouldn't be out in the world where people can use it. Like one of the things I also mentioned is just how polluted the internet is getting right now. Like if you search for Google image of like a sea slug, most of those images are going to be AI generated.
Yeah.
Which means that if, like 20 years from now, if you are making a science book and you have a little section on sea slugs, you don't know if that's going to be a picture of an actual thing or something an AI made up 20 years ago. Like we've polluted the internet, which is humanity's greatest resource of information. We just don't know if anything we see on there is true anymore, because there are a lot of like sleazy PR agencies who use AI to generate articles. The stuff in there is not accurate. It gets sent to newspapers. They report it as true, and that becomes truth.
Yeah,
and it's very difficult to track down the information in there. Like recently in Ireland, there's been a big thing of Conor McGregor, the UFC guy, talking about how Ireland is now one of the most dangerous places in the world to like go out at night. And when you track down the information, it was AI generated for a gambling site. And then when you track it down further, it came from a survey of people's like perceptions, but not actual like crime statistics or anything.
Right. I remember when this stuff was being said about Sweden.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The no-go
like
areas.
A few years ago.
And no-go area is a big thing in the UK as well. I apparently. I've lived in one.
In the no-go area.
Oh yeah, I was just near Finsbury Park Mosque in Finsbury Park, obviously, and that is apparently a no-go area for white people. Which I wish someone would have told me when I lived there for like 5 years, and so did all my white friends, and my white media company office was there, and all the like coffee bars and stuff. We didn't know we were in a no-go area with Sharia law. Really would have nice to know that when I went to the pub, because there's like 50 pubs around there. But I've had Americans tell me that where I live is a no-go area.
Must be nice to be explained to like that by an American.
Oh yeah, and they will not accept any clarification. Like
of course.
I'll like picture myself next to Finsbury Park Mosque and be like, if this was a no-go area, why am I here? Why is it okay? Why can't I find any like signs? Why is there literally a pub across the street selling alcohol? If Sharia law is here, why am I literally drinking beer right now? And then they just move on to something else. They don't engage with it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them, and
it's a performance. It's trolling. It's just a gesture. It's something you can say to piss people off. And
it's increasingly pushing us into this like more and more fascist world. You know, I saw you say in your article that the Labour Party in Britain like did this campaign with like anthropomorphic animals where they had their policies being depicted as animals or something, and then they pulled it down. And a few days later they promised to mainline AI into the veins of Britain. Like that sounds fucking horrifying.
They're still doing it. They're building a lot of data centers, and if you look at where the data centers are going to be, they're in the towns where there were like race riots last year. You know, all that stuff that happened last year around the riots. It pretty much maps one for one on where were the worst riots and where these data centers are going to be. Because the Labour Party is thinking, okay, all these dumb working class people need like jobs, so let's make the data factories in their town. It's kind of like reindustrialization, but with data centers,
right?
Which are going to be for an industry that is currently dying. Like the AI industry is. Even since writing the article, like a month and a half ago, the AI industry has just like plummeted.
It continues to be like forced onto us, like constantly, right? Hugely. In every product, every program. Nobody's asking for this shit, yet everything is like forcing, like just like, I guess using like a Google Home as AI too, right? But like,
thereabouts.
I used to be able to like
click. I've got an Alexa I used to turn on TV and stuff. I don't particularly feel it's particularly fascist.
Right, same. Like I will be like, turn on the lamps. And
I'm not
but
like
my phone
Nazi
won't let me do it anymore. Pardon?
I'm not like Hitler saluting while I ask Alexa to turn the TV down. I think an Alexa's okay. Maybe I'm selling out.
I don't know. I mean, right now it might be.
It is Amazon, but yeah.
But like, so I used to be able to like click on my phone and be like, hey, turn on the downstairs lights or something. But now my phone updated and has this AI, and it won't allow me to do that voice command. And it just like, it's like Googling what I'm saying.
These things are not good. And
I'm like, why are you making everything worse?
Yeah, there's very little utility, and there's a huge pushback on all of these things. When Photoshop, Adobe rather, again, massive amount of pushback. But it is something that's been forced like top down. Like Shopify, for example, as their management are very, very right wing. And they are now mandating that anytime you do something at Shopify, you have to try it with AI first to see if AI can do it. And you have to, when you submit a monthly report on your activities for the month, which is very like Doge-like, you have to show how you're bringing AI into your workflow.
That's so fuck. And then you hear like the Labour Party say, we're going to be mainlining it into the veins of Britain. And then you're like, this is some Clockwork Orange shit. Like, nobody wants this, yet you're plugging it into people. You're forcing it onto them.
Yeah, and by the time any data centers are built, companies like OpenAI will have gone under. They are dying companies. They've recently been invested in by SoftBank, which you'd think would be a good thing, because SoftBank is a very big private equity firm. But SoftBank are like the grim reaper of terrible private equity ideas. They're known for people like WeWork, trying to force WeWork on everyone when everyone was like, this is just an office. And WeWork having this like absolutely bloated valuation, and their CEO being a complete idiot freak. And they're just doing it again with AI, but on a much bigger scale, because now they've got governments pledging.
Didn't the CEO for that like do weird shit, like not wear shoes in the city and stuff?
Did a lot of ayahuasca, took a lot of like people on retreats to do shamanic stuff. He was a real weirdo in a kind of different, in more like hippie way. Whereas Sam Altman is more of a tech rationalist kind of weird freak. Also some allegations of sexual impropriety against him. Right,
with his sister.
From a very young age too.
Jesus.
Allegations, of course, but we have to say. But it wouldn't surprise me. It's going to be a lot worse than when a company like WeWork went under, which meant a few bits of office space got bought up by another office space company. With AI, you've got, in America, you restarting coal power plants, restarting nuclear power plants. 3 Mile Island was brought online just to give Microsoft enough electricity to run their Copilot thing that no one wants. In the UK, they're going to start building all this stuff, and by the time it's actually built, the whole industry will be gone, and we'll just have all this spare data center capacity in these like already deprived northern towns and cities, people told they'll be getting jobs in AI in the future, and then it all just collapses. And we've spent billions on it when there's so many billions that could be spent on, like British schools are actually literally falling apart, and they're full of asbestos. And yet we're spending money on AI stuff because our government, which is famously austere and wants to save money on everything, can always find money for AI shit.
Right, and I think I heard you call AI artistic austerity.
Yes, it is. It does kind of encode the ideas of kind of neoliberal austerity in it. It's cheap. It takes labor out of the equation. It has very little human going on in it. It's ugly. It's stupid. Yeah. It is a very austere, austerity-minded way of doing art, as much as it is fascist, and probably those two things are very go together very well. Yes, I was clearly right when I said that.
You said it's taken away things that people need to get by, like beauty and human connection, and that really resonated with me. Again, as an illustrator, like I never fully felt threatened by the possibility of AI doing illustrations, because I was like, well, who's going to want that? Like, literally humanless art. What is the point of that? But I didn't take into account like fascists actually finding that to be a feature, not a bug. And like the soullessness, like there's this like weird look to AI art, right? Like not only are the fingers and feet like all messed up, but there's like this shine, like weird shine to everything. And it's just, I used to think, well, who could possibly be threatened by that? Because it's going to be so pointless and empty to have a machine do art for you. Like the whole point of art is to enjoy that a human has created this. It's that connection, right? You're like, wow, I can't believe another human did that. But what's the wonder when a computer's done it? So but here we are today. Like,
it is. And I mean, one of the things I didn't mention in the article is the kind of AI slop on Facebook, which isn't being produced or consumed by people who are reactionary at all. Like, it's not
boomers.
Like, it's boomers and people from India. Don't want to like single out like 1/5 of the people in the world, but India's really loves their AI slop.
Well, they also love their fascism quite a bit.
They do, yeah. I'm sure not every person there does is like a big Modi fan, but
right.
But there's like a base that's keeping this stuff afloat by using it so much, and a lot of these people are your grandparents on Facebook liking a picture of Shrimp Jesus, and it's
and slowly becoming fascist.
Well, not my parents, very quickly, but
quickly became fascist.
Oh yeah, big time during the pandemic, but
oh no,
but there are some people who do not look at art the same way that you or I would look at art, and who don't really care that it's not good. And that's always been the case. There's always been people complaining that like the masses do not understand true art. Even like very right-wing people believed that for a long time, like Wyndham Lewis and T.S. Eliot and people.
Even before all this AI stuff, there was like Ben Garrison. Do you know his cartoon? Yeah, exactly. He was like labeling. He was labeling everything because you couldn't tell who or what that was supposed to be. So it'd be like map, and then write the person's name, and then I don't know. He would just like go on and on. So many labels. It became a parody. It became a meme.
Yeah, and you can AI generate your own Ben Garrison images. They're so like distinct. It's there's a lot of people who don't really care about soul in art, or can't see it, or like wouldn't know the difference between a painting that a human produced and AI produced, or wouldn't care. And then that supports the the fascist use of it, and that supports that kind of makes someone a bit more susceptible to fascist arguments. I think at the end of the day, if you are willing to look beyond, to kind of ignore the human element of immigration policy.
Mm-hmm. Just giblify it, and it's cute.
Yeah. Have some Ghibli ICE agents.
Yeah. I mean, how long before like the Nazis are doing that with like Holocaust pictures, right?
Oh, they do. There's loads.
So gross.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Very literal fascist use of AI is pretty extensive as well.
Yeah.
The like very far right people have their own kind of aesthetic, like terrorcore, which you can make in AI stuff, obviously. But there's almost like, as you go very far to the right, they kind of want to make their own images because it's like a very like showing off, of making like really horrible imagery. There's recently a guy arrested I think it was in Canada actually, for being one of Atomwaffen's main like artists. I think his name was.
Did you say terrorcore?
Yeah, that's their word, their term for it, terrorcore.
Okay,
so
wow.
Very like distinctive, kind of like grimy, kind of punky, like almost industrial aesthetic, and that's kind of like your very far siege-pilled terrorist, Nazi paedophile kind of aesthetic. And which, it is at the end of the day art, though. Like someone sat down in Photoshop and made these pictures of like swirling Sonnenrads over Auschwitz and stuff. It's horrible, but it's art. Whereas
like the old fascist posters and
like
futurist stuff, and
that was all art at the end. It was bad art, but it was art. Like Hitler made art. He was an artist, but very badly. But it was art. Whereas, the more mainstream wing of fascism just has utterly embraced AI art. They make virtually no art of their own anymore. If you go to Javier Milei's Instagram page, it's all AI art. Mm-hmm. It is nothing else there except for. And
Britain First.
Yeah, Britain First, huge AI arts users.
So before, I remember they used to have this function filled by using like cute animal videos. I remember Britain First like posting a lot of like cute puppy and like kitten videos, and people would like, without knowing who Britain First is, like, make it go viral. Yeah,
and a lot of like animal cruelty videos too.
Oh shit! Britain First did that.
Yeah, things like this dog was found in a sewage grate and stuff, and people saved him. The kind of stuff you see.
They said like immigrants did it.
Not always, actually. Sometimes it would just be like the kind of stuff you see on Facebook and Twitter, TikTok, where it's just like a sad music in the background, like a little kitten who's out in the cold, and they're like bombarded Facebook groups with these images, and it would be like Britain First posting on a very normal like a town's own Facebook group. Like you'll be in the Chorlton Facebook group, and then Britain First will just show a kitten image, and some like grandmas and people will end up following Britain First out of that.
Right, yeah.
It's a very, very, very effective tactic. I think they've mostly stopped it now. But
well, now they're just on to AI slop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've kind of moved over. And, they're doing that, the 4 black guys behind the one crying white girl image a lot. There's a lot of sad soldiers, a lot of, like... World War I soldiers crying at what Britain has become. It's a lot less tricking people than it used to be. Like when it was the sad...
but also faking scenarios that aren't real. But like, I see that in the ex-Muslim scene too. Like there's this particularly awful ex-Muslim who's Iranian, and I saw like a video by him with a thumbnail. It was like, why Israel should bomb Iran. And like it's like the rubble of like the place, and he put his face in the middle, and it's like he's essentially saying, look, I'm Iranian and I'm telling Israel to bomb Iran. Right?
Must be right.
Of course. You also draw some like interesting comparisons. Like you talk about how that whole circuit of like reaching out to canceled celebrities, they're now doing with like the tech industry and trying to build alliances and gain support from them. And then you talk about how on Rogan, Zuckerman talked about like masculine energy and called for like aggression, and talked about the tech industry as being culturally neutered, and just so much of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a process that's happened over the last decade, 2 decades maybe. Like there was a time when Facebook was a liberal company. There were times when Elon Musk was tweeting about how Tesla was winning awards for its LGBTQ inclusion. That wasn't too long ago, and now they've come out. They'll show their power level now. Yeah, and again, go back to what we were talking about earlier. That it's not that these people have changed. They were always bad people. I mean, there's stuff from Elon Musk's childhood where he was an absolute horrible child.
Right.
His father is a horrible person, even to Elon Musk.
And his mom and grandpa, apparently. His grandpa's like a Nazi. His grandpa was
literally in a Canadian fascist group, the Technocracy, which is like something out of a sci-fi novel. But these were never good people. It's just that for a very brief time in history, it paid to pretend to be liberal. It paid to do your land acknowledgements. Yeah. And while that was happening, while they were doing the land acknowledgements, there was a very, very coordinated, well-funded, well-thought-out radicalization process that got them to the point where they can come out and say, "Yeah, I've always been a literal Nazi." I don't know if you remember that interview with a top banker who said that, during the woke Biden era, he couldn't say words like the arse-slur or pussy, and now he can. Now it's back. He can say those words again. And there was like a very, like, even like the arse-slur particularly, there was a really strong, a very focused attempt to get that word back in. They really fetishize that particular word. Elon Musk uses it every day now. Yeah, and there was this like a battle within the atheist scene about that too. Some atheist groups were like, I didn't know that. Yeah. What? It's not like Dawkins and Sam Harris fighting about it. It's like lower level atheist groups and stuff, things. And YouTubers and stuff. Well, one is like Atheists for Liberty or something like that. It's an American atheist group, but very right wing, and they were trying to cancel like a more progressive atheist figure for saying that using the R-slur is bad, and they just like had like a hate campaign going for days. Yeah, it happened on even on the left too. There was like certain podcasts would say it, some wouldn't, and you'd be called a cuck if you didn't say it, and you'd be called a neoliberal sellout and a PMC. What? Yeah, it was. This was happening for years and years on the left. Those people eventually obviously became like they eventually revealed themselves to have been right-wingers all along, and are now hanging out with Grimes and Curtis Yarvin. Right. Yeah. And then there's also that I'm not left or right kind of crew. Yeah. Then it's like that Scooby-Doo meme, and you like pull off the mask and it's always a right-winger that's saying that. Always, yeah. That's a huge red flag. There's a YouTuber I quite liked for a long time, but then he's gone with no one can really understand my politics. So I'm kind of beyond politics. I'm like, you're just a right winger now. I know, but there's an article to be written about the history of the R-slur over the last 20 years, because it's so important to conservatives that they say it. They're willing to lose a lot of money, apparently. Like, I'm sure this guy this clip from this article was making the rounds, has lost a lot of money in the recent stock market crashes, right? Like, I don't have any money, so I'm fine. But I'm sure he has plenty of money to lose. But at least he got to
say the R word. At least he gets to say it now.
Yeah, I think to him, I mean, there's this idea in like sociology called post-materialism, and I'm not going to bore your listeners with what that is, but essentially the idea that people are now beyond material concerns. They're not into getting money isn't very interesting to people anymore. People are willing to be poor and to have their standard of life be lowered in order to achieve culture war stuff. And we see that, we saw that in Brexit, and massively, where we a lot of people just wanted to, stick the middle finger up to Europe. And they were willing to really lower their quality of life to do it. And now we see it with this tariff stuff. I've already seen people on TikTok, just regular conservatives in their trucks with their Oakley glasses on, not right-wing influencers or politicians, but just regular folks just talking about how it's fine. I don't mind losing money. I don't mind paying more for eggs because I'm winning the battle. And I think these bankers are totally willing to lose a lot of money. It's just numbers on a spreadsheet.
And here in Canada, while Trump threatens the sovereignty of Canada, there are right-wingers here that are saying, you know what? He should take us.
I know.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
Like they're willing to lose their country, right? Like
just to piss off like the libs.
To own the libs.
The trigger libs.
Wild.
Yeah. I used to live in Alberta, so I know very much that mentality. I'm sure if I still was there, all my co-workers would be like, yeah, come on, Trump. Destroy us. Send the missiles now. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you know Gad Saad. He's been over a year asking Donald Trump to invade Canada because Justin Trudeau is too woke.
Oh, God. These people.
Yeah. And also, like, he is gaining influence because Elon Musk likes his really shitty ideas. Like, they're not even, like, they're always, like, so poorly framed and formed and easily debunked, but it doesn't matter. He's talking about how empathy is bad and how the West is
that empathy
too
thing
empathetic, right? And that goes in line with this AI stuff so well, right? Like, make it human-like-less and soulless and... hurt illustrators and writers who could be making this stuff. And ultimately use this stuff to hurt people. That's why Britain first tweets that stuff. It makes their supporters feel good, makes people of color feel bad. Yeah. And
everything about AI has a cruel element to it. It's just cruelty all the way down. There's nothing else to it but hurting people.
Yeah.
And hence why they love it.
And you talk about like how it is like a hatred of working people, like you can tie that to it, and like, solidarity of the capitalist class, which we just talk about, like how they're willing to lose money even to stick it to the libs. Yeah, this is where they are now. They're pure hatred, pure cruelty, low taxes and traditional values thing is gone. Yeah. Like they wouldn't care a single thing about it. It's and like I mentioned earlier, even some conservatives are realizing that now, and they're jumping ship. Yeah, I just saw a tweet from Richard Hanania. Oh God, yes. Yeah, he was the last person I thought would it's so wild. So he says, the two most disastrous decisions taken by world leaders over the last few years are Putin's invasion of Ukraine and Trump's tariffs. Toxic masculinity works as a framework for understanding fantasies of both conquest and factory jobs. Feminists may have been onto something. That's like something I would tweet. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I 100% agree with everything Richard Hanania just said. Like, and it's so bizarre that him in particular, because he was the guy who was like hiding his power level, but pretending to be a normal guy when actually he was a white nationalist. But how well did he actually hide his power level? Because like he was saying a lot of the same racist stuff under his real name, even like before that expose came out about him. But he knows, because he's been a mask off white nationalist. He knows that conservatism is just a cover for racial and sexual and
just hatred.
Yeah.
Because he was doing that for years and years and years. And now he wants to like flip it and go, oh no, we did want to lower people's taxes and have sensible foreign policy.
Yeah.
But
I don't trust him though, but
yeah, I don't know what if this is some sort of grift, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I know there is a lot of divisions opening up in the right now. By the time this comes out, there's going to be even more people who are going to reveal themselves to be.
God, I hope so.
But with how anti-rational the whole thing is, I don't even know if that's going to make any difference.
Yeah, there was that other right-wing guy, also Benny Johnson. He was like, well, losing money doesn't cost you anything, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, it costs you money.
Yeah, at least money. Like, they're trying to justify it in the weirdest ways right now, but let's see where it leads and how long they can keep it up. But I really did like how you ended that article. You talked about, like, using mockery as a tool, like, even though the left doesn't have much political power right now, like mocking Teslas and the Cybertruck and how it's anti-art.
This was written before the take down Tesla thing. I didn't even know it at the time. People were mocking Cybertrucks, of course, but it is really ramped up.
Yeah. My 6-year-old laughs at the sight of one, and I have to be like,
mine too. Okay. My 8-year-old son has a game where if you see a Cybertruck, you lose. It's like, oh, I lost the game when a Cybertruck goes past.
Oh god!
And that's like normal for kids nowadays. And he plays Fortnite as well. And there were Cybertrucks in Fortnite for a while, and it became a thing of like, if you see a Cybertruck, you destroy it on sight.
And I have to tell my son, like, because he's in kindergarten, and I'm like, don't talk about this stuff in kindergarten because I don't know what you're going to say. And don't say anything about Teslas because some parents have Teslas. And he'll look at the school parking lot and be like, ew, a Tesla. And, like, you don't know which kid's parent that Tesla belongs to. And while I very much love that he doesn't love Teslas, but I don't want him to be, like, getting in trouble in school, in kindergarten, for mocking Teslas.
Yeah, if I found out he'd bullied some kid for having a Tesla, I don't know what I'd think. It's really hard to tell him off for that.
Yeah, I'm just telling him not to talk about it, but I don't know. I don't know if he will listen or not. But you did talk about how, like, we prevented the Google Glass from becoming a thing because people mocked it so widely. Yeah,
that's kind of like something that's been kind of like pushed under the rug a bit, how there was supposed to be this new technology and it was going to be this very futuristic cyberpunk looking thing that we were all going to be wearing, working in our real lives. And it was really bigged up, and wearable tech was like the new thing for years. Like in work, I had to do things about wearable tech.
How creepy.
And and yet through mockery, basically, through it becoming uncool to wear these things because of the Google Explorer program, an entire field of technology has just been kind of deleted. And maybe it'll come back one day. Maybe there will be glasses with AI stuff in, like heads-up display is kind of cool. I wouldn't mind that, but I
don't know. Like, there's so many evil uses of that shit that.
Oh yeah, you'd have to have no cameras and stuff, but being able to see like a map while you're walking down the street would be pretty useful. But yeah, that's been kind of deleted, and that was basically mockery and uncoolness. And even the right do respond to that. We saw that last summer during that like brief period where we were calling Republicans weird, and they really got under their skin, and it still does. Yeah.
So we should keep at it, I think. And
oh god, yeah. It seems to be the only. It's like the only weapon we have.
Yeah. Just recently, Adobe opened an account on Blue Sky and tweeted something completely tone deaf. Like, hey guys, what's making you feel creative these days? Or it's like, fuck off. Everyone is already so mad.
Yeah, they're being bullied off the site now. They're deleting their account. So good.
Yeah, that was good. Oh.
Yeah, it can be done.
Yeah.
We can do this, folks.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great place to leave it. Thank you so much, Gareth. If you want to plug anything.
Sure. If you go to Blue Sky, garethwatkins.bsky.social. You'll find all the articles I do there. Since the AI one, I've had a couple others. They're also about tech, like kind of the intersection of tech and fascism. It's kind of become my beat now. I also do a podcast called Death Sentence, which is about books, but also death metal. There's like 200 people in the world that actually appeals to. But if you have...
It's very specific.
Oh, yeah, there's very little crossover between those two circles on a Venn diagram. But we have managed to make one of the loudest literary podcasts in the world at the moment, so we're quite proud of that.
Cool.
But yeah, follow me on Blue Sky, not Twitter. I haven't posted there for about 8 months.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support it, there are several ways you can do that. You can share it online, talk about what you just heard. You can leave a 5-star review to help others find it too. And you can also subscribe via patreon.com/nice mangoes. No E in mangoes. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter before it's completely wrecked, you'll find me at Nice Mangoes. Again, no E in mangoes.